Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another video on ForgottenWeapons.com. I'm Ian McCollum, and I'm here today at the hotel where we're filming the Polenar Tactical Podcast post Lynx Brutality 2023. Why don't we bring the camera over the table and we can take a look?
That's not cool. Seriously.
Don't be a pussy, man.
Okay.
That just happened.
That wasn't supposed to happen.
That hit the nerve. Well, no, okay.
Cheers, guys.
Okay, guys, thank you very much for joining us. It was a nice weekend. Thank you for being here with us. It's going to an end, but not before we do this podcast. So, Ian, how are you?
I am doing great. I survived Lynx Brutality. Possibly the most physical match we've done yet. Possibly. There's a strong argument to be made for it. I have a lot of bruises. No open bleeding wounds this time.
That's good.
It was fantastic.
Our cameraman got injured again.
He has to. That's what he does.
Yeah.
Yep.
Went to ER.
Yep. He didn't have to go to the ER last year.
That's true. Yeah, so he improved.
Yeah. More brutal.
Probably.
Even
he
for the
had to
production
go.
staff.
He had to go last year, but didn't go. You think this is more brutal than the running part of?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
No,
for you,
no,
yes.
no, for you maybe, but no.
No, it's not. No.
No, the running part was terrible.
I've already blotted that from my mind.
Well, for us, the goal was to make it challenging, but also make it fun. I hope it was more interesting than last year. It
was, but that's not to imply that last year wasn't. True. Last year was a really good match, and this year just took it up another notch, which is really impressive.
Yeah, I enjoyed a lot. It was my first time here.
Your first time?
Yeah.
In Slovenia or on the bench?
No, in a Lynx Brutality, and it was awesome match. I have done fair share of Brutality matches and arranged them myself, so it was a really well-run match, and I enjoyed the stages. They were.
Which one was your favorite stage?
There are many, for different reasons. I think, of course, the Kasarda drill is always nice.
Sponsored by Schmeiser.
Also, for the guys that didn't see the video or haven't seen the video yet, I don't know how that will work, but Jari did the Kasarda drill with a 36 kilo kettlebell.
He's insane.
Yep.
That's 90 pounds, or 80 pounds in freedom units.
Yeah, because Siga has a tiny kettlebell, so I took the manly size. But for a shooting perspective and just the flow, I think the anti-tank weapon, in its simplicity, was just a freaking cool stage.
That was a perfect classic Brutality stage.
Mm-hmm.
That said, the best stage here has to have been Electric Boogaloo.
Definitely.
It's up there with your infamous Trench for the best Brutality stage yet. If for no other reason than watching the compilation video of people getting electrocuted.
Yeah. I think at least three people were knocked out for a second from the electricity.
Yeah, that was true innovation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The one poor guy who got it on the back of the neck and blacked out for a moment and woke up where am I? And immediately got it on the back of the neck again and went back.
We need to put B-roll in this.
Yeah, that's our friend Igor from Bosnia. He's an awesome guy. He came here also for the first one. And I texted him if he's okay and mad at us, and he just said that it was an awesome match. So.
Who is this? Where am I?
He got his memory wiped. Wow, this was an awesome match. I don't remember, but nice job.
Yeah, I got a lot of inspiration for the coming Finnish brutalities. Okay, I could do it that way, and that's a cool thing. You share experiences, bounce around the stage ideas, and see how things are done differently in different places. And it was definitely a good learning experience.
I think it was Giga saw water at Finnish Brutality, and he said, "What's next?" Electricity. So basically, for Finnish Brutality, maybe you can go with fire then.
No, please don't. Please don't.
We have played around with the idea, but of course there are some safety issues.
I think the thing though that stage did on a technical basis, it's one thing to have a really cool concept, But what it still pulled off technically was a really good balance of the wire was just the right height that you could stay low enough, and there were danglers in there, but they were spaced. So if you wanted to do that stage and not get electrocuted, you could do it with no risk of getting electrocuted as long as you were careful and did it right. But you're going to take more time. And if you're willing to get electrocuted and just eat the pain, you can bust right through down the middle and go faster and just accept that it's going to hurt.
Accept the punishment.
And like that's exactly what you did, and playing it safe is exactly what I did. But it means that like you can run that stage, and it's not like everyone's going to look at that stage and go, Jesus, I'm going to get knocked out on this stage. This is actually dangerous. No, it's not dangerous unless you consciously accept the risk of hitting those wires.
But we
Which
also
is perfect.
have a lot of alpha males in the competition, so
Yeah, and it's hilarious to watch them get electrocuted.
exactly.
But actually, there was a funny thing that the RO did. He started to when the new squad came there, he started to ask people like, do they want to have it on the pussy or the hardcore mode? But essentially, like it has no settings, so it's always on the full power. And everyone like, oh yeah, we should do hardcore. And then when he asked the competitor just before starting, everyone said like, oh yeah, pussy mode. Please for me. So that was kind of a funny thing. Okay, so next year we will electrocute the fast rope. That'll be interesting.
Five competitors fall to
It'll
their
be
death.
a faster rope stage. But let's move on. That was a great match. I'm super tired. Had some issues, but I think it ran well. Let's move to a discussion that I'm always interested in, but usually in our podcast it comes last. How do you think the development of AI will or will not, or how will influence on the development and of the firearm systems, firearm operating systems, guns in general? Ian,
I don't think it will at all.
you really think so?
I do.
I second that. I don't think it has any impact. Because at the end of the day, you could feed design specs into an AI, but you'd basically be doing the same thing with an engineer anyway. So, like, if you were to say, create me a rifle that is short stroke gas piston and it has this length, you're basically just giving specs. If you were to put in like Chat GPT or whatever, and like I want a rifle like this, it would spit out the same kind of thing.
But what about
I doubt that.
But what about out of the box? Just like create me a robot that does stuff and.
I think it's
The Japanese have already developed a robot that does stuff.
Yeah, but this is more for mass stuff.
I think it's depends on, do we just look the handgun design versus the weapon system design. Like there's a cool project in Finland to do the self-roving anti-tank mine platform, which is powered by AI, and it can find its own routes, hunt the tanks, kind of trail them. It can navigate in a wooden terrain. So I think in that type of applications, we're surely going to see more autonomous systems. But whether it's a kind of designing the weapon, I'm not an expert on IE, but if the computational power increases, you probably can do the faster design cycles.
So my thought is AI works in a situation where being able to process a tremendous amount of data and optimize down to an end solution is the important process. The end solution, not a final solution. And firearms development.
Sponsored by Schmeisser.
Oh God! Oh shit! Jesus Christ!
Firearms design is not an area
Goodbye
where
YouTube monetization.
Firearms design, like small arms design, is not an area where optimizing all of the internet's worth of data is what you need to do. There's some
that's
ergonomic
I
issues.
see AI implementation into weaponry different than AI development of weaponry.
Okay.
Obviously,
I listen to a lot of podcasts on AI. We don't really have proper AI yet. That's the thing. Like when I say AI, you're thinking about the language models, the ChatGPT, for example. That's not a real artificial intelligence. It's a predictive model that essentially, as far as I understand it, it kind of predicts what should come next. So you ask it some question, and just from its vast data and like processing that data, what it predicts it should come next. It like kind of assembles letter to letter and word to word and gives you like the full sentences, and you can like write a book. But it's just kind of a prediction. It's not like that the machine is actually thinking and making some logical decisions, despite it actually can make some logical kind of. It's really hard to explain. It's super complex, but this is just the beginning.
Basics, yeah.
But
if we develop it from this point on, we can come to a level.
yeah, there's only one outcome if we continue to develop AI,
Like,
and
I
it's
think-
Judgment Day.
Yeah, I think it can go into...
But look, okay,
I-
but just to continue my thought on this, sorry,
yeah,
so
no
just I
problem.
want to finish this. So imagine right now this is barely an intelligence, maybe not intelligent at all. There's also a lot of definitions of what intelligence actually is, and if, for example, artificial intelligence, does it have to be similar to our intelligence to be intelligent? You know, because like experts don't even agree if intelligence means that you are also aware of yourself, like we have self-aware, right? Because you can have animals that have some level of intelligence and they do not understand that they are them, right? As a animal, person, whatever. So when we come to a point where artificial intelligence, like some point of processors and computers, are really, really on a higher level than we are, and they can just like, you can ask them questions or give them problems, and they solve it in the best optimal way that we don't even understand. And some of those things are already happening because I think from DNA and gene mapping, you got scientists put a lot of data into those like models and got some results out that they do not understand how they work and how did they solve it, but they got they got like the solution out of it. and you know, like they didn't know how the computer or the system came to this solution, but it works.
Yeah.
So imagine this for guns. You put in like, you don't have to put in parameters, but you say like, I want a really efficient rifle, I want a high ballistic coefficient, or just you go in general, like I want the best rifle to kill the most of my enemies. And it gives you some kind of design out and you know, because we are very limited on what we learned from gun designing way back, you know, like we are always limited with our history. Because when something works and it works well enough, we design it further, improve it, and when we have a system that works okay and we improve it to some level, all of the new kind of operating systems or every innovation is compared to the one that already works. Yeah. And it's an unfair field because the innovation that already works and we improve it for 100 years will usually be better and cheaper than something new that it's not refined.
But are we talking just about firearms? Or
I'm especially interested because of Ian. Because he's like he's a encyclopedia of firearms. And
Since when?
Oh, sorry, that's your part?
Yeah. You think he does all the work?
So what you're talking about are like evolutionary traps or optimization traps, where if you plot efficiency on a chart, the more you optimize a single system, you'll get better to a point, but maybe there's a better solution over here that you have to climb out of your optimization to get to. But I think firearms design, and especially ballistics, is too simple of a problem to have. I don't think any of those traps exist. Because if you look at the periods where major new technologies get developed, the most recent one being self-loading firearms from the 1890s through the 1920s, there were a ton of very obscure systems that were explored. Because as soon as someone patented one, if you wanted to design your own and get in on this gold rush of new technology, you had to come up with a different system. And so we kind of tried every branch on the tree. And the ones that didn't work well get pruned off. And we end up with a handful of systems that do optimize really well. And I can't, there are such fundamental basic problems with the other systems. The long recoils, the forward, the blow forwards, those sorts of systems that I really don't see there being any hidden solution in there that AI would find that we haven't gotten into. Now, the one place where I would agree with you perhaps is a potential for silencer design. Because where you're talking about really complicated gas flow and finite element analysis of where does every molecule of gas go, that's a system where applying massive processing power could come up with either a better refinement of the existing system, bypassing a lot of trial and error, or maybe come up with some weird system that we haven't thought of. And the cool part is we can then couple that with additive manufacturing, with 3D printing, to create suppressor designs that are substantially better than what we have now. But that's where I see computing and sort of AI having a possible...
Yeah, I think the manufacturing technology is even more interesting, that how the materials develop and the capability of shape in additive form will open a much more new avenues, because there might be some things in the existing systems what you can't improve because we are on the optimized level. But if the materials and the way of shaping them changes, it might open some new avenues. So all the 3D printing, like additive manufacturing, I think that's kind of tiny step.
Yeah.
To
I
that.
think at that point, though, it's more like the doors are there. They're just locked until certain key elements are met. It's not as if we're creating a brand new door that AI would be able to help us. We've figured out what we want to do. We just haven't reached that point in technology where we can do it at the level that it needs to be done. So you just can't unlock that door and go through yet. You're not going, okay, well, I'm going to press a button and all of a sudden the computer's going to make a whole new door that I can go through.
No, but I think that solid points. But I think where AI can help is just thinking outside of the box, because we wouldn't think ourselves. This is maybe what Giga wanted to say.
Yeah, look.
I know the application.
I have a good one. So basically, firearms and pistols. Let's say they all have. You have to put the trigger or the finger on the trigger. Who says that you need to shoot like this? Why can't you? I don't know. Why is the trigger can be, a module, a fucking chip in your head. You know what I mean? The mechanics, somebody like an engine, electricity can help. Why do you need your trigger finger? Stuff like that. I think it will just speed up the process maybe and help out with the evolution, or the revolution. But the human is still the main power.
Yeah, when we have real AGI, I think everything will change.
I have already
just a good example, because you mentioned 3D printing, for example. 10 years back, if I would ask you a similar question like, how will 3D printing affect firearm manufacturing? You would say like, no way. What, like some kind of plastic thing is like, it's useless for firearm manufacturing, right? But now almost every company uses some kind of form of 3D printing, plastic or metal or some other form.
At least for beta test.
At least for prototypes and like a lot of companies produce 3D printed and sintered suppressors. I think titanium is used a lot, and it made a big change, and I think it will make a bigger change in the future also. But if we imagine like proper AGI, proper artificial intelligence, if something is like smarter than us, like by a 10 times fold or 100 times fold, like we are very limited with the ideas that we know right now. For example, like semi-automatic handgun, it works in this way. It should have a slide. You know, like you always think like, oh, it has a slide and it has a pistol grip. Like if you just give the kind of like if you give a question or a requirement to this kind of system, that it can come up with a totally different idea, like a proper innovation that maybe like we wouldn't even understand why some kind of the design features, how would that improve the efficiency or I don't know, reduce recall, but it could. So I personally think that if this continues in a way that it does now, so we really get a proper artificial intelligence in the next 5 to 10 years, everything will change, not just firearms.
Yeah, you need to start stacking the armor-piercing rounds. That's my take. But there is a solution already what you can use in firearms industry.
What kind of solution?
The good solution.
The last one?
So
The last one?
Even the existing like this AIs what we have for pictures and text and something, start to doing the what is the next meme gun and manufacture that as efficient as possible, short time to market. Once the AI spots the Instagram meme or something, this is a potential for the meme gun, and next week it's already in a distribution.
Is that not literally Kel-Tec's marketing department?
Pretty much, but think about if you can speed it up like a gazillion times.
It's fast fashion for firearms.
Yes. No, but I bet it would work.
But that's actually what probably Kel-Tec does. Like they just feed a shitload of ideas into the computer and just give them random
it's not ideas, it's
computer or
cocaine.
cocaine into brain.
The secret ingredient is cocaine.
Yeah, but there's the solution.
So I really don't think you in particular, Giga, are giving humans enough credit, because we've experimented with a lot of things that you're describing here. And what we found is they are very easily outdone by the basic common system that we see today. So you're seeing the end of the process, but the whole back end of it was there. Guns without slides, guns with fundamentally different sorts of locking systems and controls. And like, thank goodness, because if they weren't, I wouldn't have a channel.
Yeah. So you mentioned having a system that's 100 times smarter than you that you could feed information into. Just turn to your left.
Oh, that was uncalled for.
We invited Jordan to this podcast. I think now he's gonna leave for being too sweet. No, I to be honest, I think everybody's right, kinda. But at the end of the day, I would be okay with a world without AI and the AI talks, because Jan, shut the fuck up. Because I think that we are overreacting how this is gonna impact and change the world. I think it's the same.
Our cameraman, me and my cameraman, we agree.
Yes.
We're both like nodding.
Good.
Nope.
Good.
Nope.
Okay.
I'll join Team Samo.
No,
and
like
say,
it's a valid point. You should finish.
I don't welcome the robot revolution.
I think for now it's very. Everybody thinks that this is gonna change the world. I think it's gonna be well implemented into the world. The same way 10 years ago we were talking about drones and shit. This will change the military and change how we film. It did. It actually did. But this was just like, you know, a nice change to it, but not revolution. But we thought now in 5 years, we're like everything that's gonna be flying, it's gonna be drones and no humans at all. This is what we were essentially talking about probably like in 2008 and 10. But it's not. Yes, it helps filming. Yes, it helps killing. Sorry. But it's not the main game changer.
No, but none of those developments, no previous major technological breakthrough had the potential to decide to wipe out humanity by itself.
Not just that. Look, imagine it's
Manhattan Project came quite close in.
That's
in
true,
a
but
sense
there was a human element that controlled
yeah, but
power.
that was like a first step.
Yeah.
why I'm so interested in this topic is because like I listen a lot of podcasts on this, like on artificial intelligence and like the dangers of it, potential dangers, and the development. And one thing that a lot of people do not realize is how to actually imagine that something is much more smarter than you.
That is true.
Because right now, even ChatGPT can already write code. That's a big red flag.
It's not
Imagine-
because sorry.
Why not?
It's not.
Everything works on code.
Yeah, no, it's not. But a lot of them programmers are very afraid they're gonna lose jobs and stuff. Some of them will, but there's still a human that needs to ask the questions, and you need to know what's up. I think a lot of people are afraid, but it's the same shit when your grandma asks you about weather in London. You still need to go to Google to ask. People just don't know how to ask Google. It's the same with Excel. A lot of people are very good at Excel, but some people are just very good in asking Excel. Your mom is not good in Excel, and it asks you know how to ask Google, and you give her the answer. I think this is how it will be implemented, and this is how it will go into jobs and structures of jobs.
Yes.
Kinda.
This is, for example, ChatGPT,
Yeah.
which I said is not a real artificial intelligence. It's just a program that predicts what should come next. It's a very simple thing, but already has capabilities that we never imagined.
But
It can write code, but it cannot decide what to write. Okay?
But there
so
are-
now imagine
Sorry.
Now imagine that a real artificial intelligence, it could be like, it doesn't even have to be as smart as we are, but it can think by itself, it can do stuff by itself. First thing that it can do when it figures that, we can stop it or erase it, it can copy itself. And if you give it access to the internet, which ChatGPT, for example, already has, it can copy itself to different kind of servers. So if you turn it down, there's a copy over there.
But sorry.
And you do not know it because it's everything that it does, it can do it by itself. And if this is just that if we imagine that it's as smart as us. Now imagine if it's way smarter than us. Or for example, imagine that this kind of system can maybe control the algorithms, the YouTube algorithm, the Facebook algorithm. Like, who won the elections? The elections were won by people that did the best advertisement, the best product placement, the best, news placement. And just in example of Facebook, if Facebook decides that, we do not like a certain candidate, and they ban him from the platform, or they don't show his advertisement, that candidate cannot win.
Yeah.
You do not have an alternative platform, for example, so this kind of systems, if we really have an artificial intelligence, real intelligence, that means that it can decide by itself, it can work by itself, it doesn't need a confirmation or it doesn't need an approval. That's a very scary thought.
It is, and that's why all the autonomous weapon systems are scary as shit. And I think that will be the arena where a lot of that development will happen. And I hope that there is a lot of oversight over that. But even the examples now, like I said, that there is this research project about the rover in Finland. It's pretty cool. There are lots of that type of projects, and I think the arena in the weapons industry. It's not the small arms, but in that arena where a lot will happen. And another one is the optics and all the accessories, like bringing and we are not talking about the self-aware AI, but a lot of computational power and even the predictive analytics and decision making, like friend or foe. What are the percentages of making that shot in that precise environment and time with your predicted skill level, and all that is probably going to impact for sport shooting.
Yep.
Imagine if you had an optic with enough computational power that in a military context, it could identify an enemy soldier, which is well within our current capabilities, I expect. but then also predict where they were going to move,
Yeah.
which is not like maybe already something they can do. If not, it's not far off.
Yeah. But even for like optics, like who would the optics is part of your gun and gear. It learns how Zika shoots. It knows that he always flinches to the left.
Yep.
It corrects it automatically. Okay, it's a brutality match. It kind of you link it to your Garmin or whatever. Okay, heart rate is this much up. His oxygen level is down this much. Okay, the shot in these conditions is probably going to be something like that. So I make sure I put a few clicks on.
Yeah, and you as a user, you don't see any difference. You just see the dot you put on the target.
Yeah.
You know, the optic move the dot on your optimal position. But you see, what we are talking about now is nothing smart.
It's
no
not
intelligence
that
at
smart.
all. This is just like
But I think it's like, of course, we can imagine like the situation. Then there is a singularity, and we start to having the new type of life forms. But I think then we are talking about the different situation. It can be quite fast or further away, but like it will be these steps on the way what we see that okay.
innovation is coming, and like maybe we can kind of slow it down, but especially like the firearm world and militaries, they were very immune to innovation. Just let's look. You mentioned optics. Just look at red dots on rifles, and now for newer generations, red dots on pistols.
Yeah.
There are still a couple of people running iron sights on pistols, and they shoot them well, but they're in disadvantage. If you know how to use a red dot, if you run it on a handgun for more than a week, you will see the benefits.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't know if you remember, but first it was the IPSC guys. Then it was like there was a gap where the battery innovations and the battery technology had to, kind of catch on. Yeah. And now, like, this will be the standard. It will only improve. Like now, U.S. military has red dots on handguns, right? Or they have it planned.
They're in the process, yeah.
Guys, can we move away from AI? I
Yes.
hate it.
This is getting to Joe Rogan levels
Yes.
of podcasting,
But we
and
don't-
I don't want to start talking about elk meat.
And we don't have any fucking marijuana and cocaine like they usually do.
Wait, I was promised cocaine.
You don't work for Keltec.
So we have two options now, guys. You continue talking about AI, and I go for a smoke, and we go to another topic.
So that's just an excuse. Someone wants to go for a smoke.
Exactly.
On optics development, if that's
Jordan.
so, you talk about how the military is traditionally conservative. It is the sport shooting communities that do the initial development on a lot of this stuff. What has a more predictable target pattern than the sport shooting communities? Imagine you take the basic concept of tracking point, which was we give you, like, here's your elevation holdover by measuring with a laser, and you pull the trigger, but it doesn't fire till you actually have the crosshair on that point. Now you change it for it recognizes an IDPA or an IPSC or one of the Diamond USPSA or IPSC European targets. And it knows what those are. Like, everyone on their phone has algorithms that can spot a human face and track it. Now your red dot understands what the target is, and once you get the dot on that target, you pull the trigger, but it doesn't fire till you're in the A zone. That's like, people could probably do that already.
Can
That's going to become cheating.
Can I buy that so that I can
Right?
not suck at brutality matches?
Everyone's like, not everyone. Half of the people out there are going to be like, oh, I totally need that. Like, we all know that IPSC guy who will break his grandmother's knee to place a tenth of a second higher. That's going to be one of the next things is, like, you're going to jailbreak your optic to allow cheat mode. And the shooting sports are going to have to figure out how to deal with that.
So essentially, you will aim the handgun around the targets, press the trigger, and just do.
Yeah,
And
basically.
it shoots when it's on point.
You know what? I'm very surprised that not a lot of, like, not apps, but electrical components are not in pistols yet. In a way that, stuff that helps you out. I don't know, with a double tap, or with the trigger pull, or stuff like that. I'm very surprised that we're in 2023 and this is not a thing. I don't know if that's just because it wouldn't work.
It would work.
Are you
It would. It
meaning something like an electrical firing system?
Just no, maybe also that, but just like everything in the pistol is still 100% mechanical. There's no battery powered anything in, like nothing. Even like nobody said, like, even if it's very stupid, let's have an app that does, not like the Mantis X system, right? It helps you out, but just like
I understand you. Yeah,
it's very strange that you came so far, and this is where now I will not go for a smoke. This is where I think AI maybe can help with firearms.
Yeah, the thing is, I
understand.
AI, shut up.
I understand exactly what your point is, and this is also my point in a general kind of area of the development of firearms, because when you develop firearms, one of the main requirements is that it's durable and it's reliable, and it's easier to make an old system that everyone uses and refined reliable and durable because you have the blueprint there.
Yeah, I think we need another like Elon Musk, but for the
and for
Just-
firearms,
I want to just first give a really good example about the electrical trigger, because for example airsoft, right? Airsoft was made around gas and electricity because it has to have an alternative power to get the BBs out. But the ones that were electrically powered, at first they had a simple switch trigger. So when you press the trigger, you completed the circuit, it fired. Now you have MOSFET triggers that you can program. So when you press the trigger, it can fire, I don't know, like a burst, 2 very fast shots. It can it can fire immediately and then load the next round. Like you can do anything you want with it. And I think this is the future of firearms. Maybe not right now, maybe not in 10 years, but why not? Because it's an improvement. Imagine like being on a match, you have this kind of trigger in your handgun. When you have a perfect aim on a target, when you press the trigger, it does double tap.
Yeah.
And you have 2 shots like this, maybe. Because you can program it to press the trigger on the correct time when your handgun...
when it comes down.
Yeah, when kind of it recoils, and when it comes down again, like this, I have to train. I have to do, I don't know, like dry fire training. I have to do a lot of shooting. I know myself. I know how the sights work, and I predict when my gun will be on the proper position, and do that myself. I have to press the trigger twice. If I miss the time window, I will.
Yeah.
I will miss the target. Right?
I think that's what basically Ian said. Yeah. Like if I can imagine this happening in Leipzig.
Yeah, but like first it will be like there will be some people that will try to experiment with this. Then there will be some people that will probably find it cool. And then when people find out that this is actually a better system and gives you an advantage, sport shooting will start to use it. And then way after that, like the military will say like, oh, all of our military guys, they really suck at shooting with a handgun because they don't have enough practice. But with this kind of trigger, we can make the efficiency of second hit by 80%. It's sold. And that'll be the new operating system, I guess.
It's like pistol optics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the reasons that we don't have a lot of this yet, part of them are just shock loading. Like imagine how hard remember how hard it was to develop flashlights that would reliably work on firearms, especially handguns.
Until it came to LEDs.
Yeah. But the G-forces on a pistol when it fires are pretty high. Like this isn't your smartphone.
I know, but LED is. I also think it is a great example of how something we could never imagine changed a lot of things.
Yeah.
Because look, do you at least like on basis know how LEDs work?
Yeah.
If you would show LEDs to I don't know Nikola Tesla invented the light bulb. He would like you can show him the schematics. You can show him how it works. He would not understand how you get light from that. You know, You don't have the basis. And now imagine if you have like artificial intelligence that's like 100 times smarter than you. Like it gives you a solution that you do not understand. For example, like for, I don't know, the semi-automatic handgun, they make a different kind of system. You shoot it and there's no recoil. Not because of the low bore axis, but something inside, like it just kind of like gets the energy out of the recoil and you just shoot and it's flat shooting. That's my point. Like we cannot imagine how the innovations will come, but if we really get to a point of, you know, a proper artificial intelligence that's like on the next level, everything will change.
That's like the electricity and the power, especially from a military perspective, is quite problem that you need to carry a lot of batteries for multiple purposes, and like and it will increase. And Ian, have you kind of ever thought that because there is a lot of energy released, I caught it when you said that there are great G-forces, like there's a lot of energy released when you fire the weapon that you could actually use that to charge your electricity system, like optics, lasers, light on a battery.
I've heard some various concepts being bandied around. Obviously, there's nothing practical yet, but I think the potential is definitely there.
Yeah, because that all the energy is going for moving the slide.
It's Hiram Maxim again, who looks at the recoil and goes, boy, there ought to be some way to harness that recoil to load a new cartridge.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's fundamentally the same sort of idea.
Yeah.
There are going to be some issues with it to overcome. There's a lot of frictional issues. You know, electricity requires physical contact or magnetism.
No, it doesn't require physical contact.
Well,
brushless motors.
that's true. But if you start getting friction on those components and the velocity slows down, that's going to have a major impact on your electrical generation. Like, it's a different set of challenges to overcome. But I think it seems like a really good candidate for something to be developed. And the reason it hasn't been before is it's pretty recent that we have a need for electricity on a firearm.
Yeah.
Even with optics, it's only pretty darn recently that we have battery-powered optics. Even like an illuminated reticle isn't worth the trouble of trying to generate power for an illuminated reticle. Just like stick a tiny battery, and if it dies, like
But
whatever,
you
it's
could
not that
solve
big a
two
deal.
problems at once, because when you harvest energy from recoil, that means you're removing energy from recoil. That means that you get less felt recoil, which in theory can work. I don't know how.
It would be really interesting, and it wouldn't be that hard, but I haven't ever thought about doing it, to calculate the energy of recoil in electrical terms. Like, how much of a battery charge are you getting from the rearward cycling of the slide? And by the way, if you suck up too much of that energy, the gun stops working. But
the right amount would be.
yeah.
Yeah.
An alternative would be some way to harness the thermal energy from a gas piston system. You know, if you have a gas system where your gas is vented, but only after the bolt is moving at the velocity it needs to cycle properly, you've got a bunch of waste heat that is fair game to use if you can come up with a reliable mechanism to use it.
But at that point, you're talking about very high levels of thermal energy for a very, very brief second of time.
Yeah.
And
I think that's the issue. Yeah.
the amount of energy you would need to convert to use something like a flashlight on a rail or a red dot would just be astronomical.
No, the thing is-
my
the thing is-
understanding is we're just not at a point where we can.
No, the thing is,
convert
like
that
your what's the word? You're getting back the energy, like similar to regenerative braking in an electrical car. You know, like you don't like fill up the car, but you're losing less energy because when you're braking, you're kind of returning some of that power to the battery.
And there's a big difference between
But
using it to power a flashlight, where you hold that flashlight on for, it has a battery life of minutes, just constant on, versus a red dot that will run on this tiny little coin battery for 50,000 hours.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or what Holosun is doing with they have the capacitor, internal battery, and they have the solar panel, but it's not just a backup. It's actually like the thing that powers up the battery, and essentially those are, I don't know how much they have, like a
50,000, I think.
no, 50,000 is normal one with the battery. Those ones, like they say that you can leave it on, and I spoke with a guy, like you would have to take it out each year for 5 hours out of a dark safe. Not even on a sunlight, but like just if you take it out of the safe for 5 hours per year, it'll have enough to, I don't know, go for I don't know how long. So essentially, if it's not locked in the safe for 5 years, if you have to use it, it'll be on. And then I don't know, the battery and the capacitor life is 10 years or something, but then kind of they planned it if after those years you send it back, they replace it and it's good again.
But thinking like the development is that the weapons need more energy, lights, lasers, all the gadgets we don't even know yet, optics. So getting the multiple sources of energy on the field conditions without like carrying gajillion different small batteries for your primary weapon, I think that's interesting development. Nice to see how it starts to roll.
Kind of, I'm thinking more in a like. Do you remember the project of like soldier of 21st century thing, kind of like with all the gadget?
Everybody had one of those.
This, but actually advanced technology. Yeah. Can you imagine without? You don't even need a red dot on your rifle. You just need one device that will kind of know where you're pointing the rifle. You can have just like a, I don't know, additional lens like in your eye that will project the dot where you should be aiming.
It's like the system they have for helicopter, like
yeah,
Apache
pretty
guns.
much, yeah. But that's like still it's a big system and it's analog kind of in a way. But
yeah,
imagine if you have like it just like you're aiming with a gun and it projects the red dot just in your eye.
Yeah.
You know,
but
like
then
this
you have the same you have the same problems that with the red dot. You need to find it.
You're just like, oh, it's
where
going.
the fuck is my red dot?
and I think the cool stage when we live the future, what Siga is saying, that when AI is like re-advanced, I hope it creates the personalities, and when you are having your AI assisted helmet and all. You motherfucker, try to do it once right and aim. I can aim for you, but at least hold the weapon steady. Oh, you screwed up again.
That's called schizophrenia.
That would be amazing.
Act correctly or we'll go to a school.
Hey, I'm pacing you out. You are running like a freaking hippo in the Sahara. Could you please speed up?
Would we call that YAR AI?
Yeah, that would be amazing.
That was a pun.
A motivational AI.
Yeah.
If you do not run faster, I will zap you.
Yeah, I have a feeling that's going to be Finnish Brutality Casarda drill. It's just Jari with a taser behind you. And every time you go to pick up the kettlebell or throw it, he'll just hit you with the taser, and you just go...
I'm gonna go buy a bunch of cattle rods.
But that would be a really good.
You're not doing it fast enough.
Look, that would be a really good start for the electrified Casarda drill, where the kettlebell is electrified for the first throw.
Oh no, you have 5 seconds when you grab it, and then it becomes electrified.
Or
so
random.
you better throw it fast.
Oh,
Just goes like
so you don't swing too much.
shit.
You're gonna electrify the rifle. Every miss, you get a shock.
Yeah, that's possible if there is an energy source on AI and.
Okay,
No, that's just a dog shot collar with a remote, and Jari just going,
There you go.
"You suck, you suck, you suck."
Someone do have any more
different-
enjoying? Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for 2 beers or 3 beers and AI. Just
I know we'll again
very
get
stable.
comments like, "Yeah, this podcast is great, but someone looks like he wants to die."
Do we have comments like
does.
that?
Yeah.
Oh shit!
You don't read
Oh no, I don't read. I don't believe in comments and forums and Lynx Brutality is so expensive. You Polenar tactical guys suck. You suck. Leave me alone. I don't care. No, I would like to. This is a very very light topic. but I really would like to know, like, how was your week here in Ljubljana and also in Kočevje? Not leave out the event, just maybe us hanging out and you going on the river in Ljubljana and stuff like that. Just, I think a lot of people don't know that at the end of the day, even you guys, the superhumans are human, right? So, you like to enjoy. So what was, a couple of enjoyable things you did here?
Let me start by suggesting that you may be miscalculating the way we do this, where you invite us here, and then we do a brutality, and then we get to see the countryside. Because what you're doing is creating an association where every time I'm in Slovenia, I'm in great bodily pain.
Does the same go for Finland?
Yes.
More or less, yeah.
But that is Giga's fault. Then it's Matej and I, then, would like you to go on the river and stuff like that.
It is a fascinating experience to be in a country that is this small.
Yeah.
We're just, in the US, we are just not used to it. Like, I mean, I can get out of, you can drive in a straight line and get out of Slovenia faster. Like, there are people who live in Phoenix back home who couldn't get out of Phoenix as quickly as I could drive to another country from here.
That
like
is true.
3 different countries from here.
That is true.
And it's an interesting change of perspective.
Yeah. And parking spaces are small and everything is small.
I'm told the whole country is in fact a parking space in front of Austria.
Yes, and Croatia. The Croatians said that the next Formula 1 circuit will be around Slovenia.
Slovenian border.
But then we cry in euros, so it's all fine. No, it is. What we really like. What I always said that I can live somewhere else, and I love visiting other places. But I love my home, and I there's no place in the world that I want to die in than Slovenia. Kinda. That's very depressing, but I love Slovenia from the bottom of my heart.
I think that's a universal thing.
I
Everyone
think it
loves
is.
their home, and Americans, probably to a greater extent than a lot of Europeans, I think, don't necessarily recognize the benefits of international travel. Like for you guys, it's easy. Like there's a lot of international travel right literally on your doorsteps.
Yep.
For us in the U.S., we have one country that's the size of
Europe.
it is a continent,
Europe,
essentially.
Yeah.
And it's a much harder pull to go fly to Europe. Like it's a huge trip. But the advantages of doing it and experiencing that are really, I think, really valuable. They give you a perspective, not just on other places, but they give you a perspective on your own home.
Yeah. And also, I think a lot of Americans should travel more, because at the end of the day, you can see that, we are very similar. It's not like black and white. The world is very similar everywhere, but you have some niche things that are very interesting for somebody that doesn't call this home.
Yeah.
I would say very similar, but also very different.
Yeah, this is
what
correct,
surprised me so much was last year when we went to the Gandhi's Awards in Texas. We saw one part of Texas, and then we drove for 4 hours in one direction, and everything was copy-paste.
Nothing changed.
Nothing changed. No, but like even the buildings. I don't know. Do you guys buy buildings?
Yes, in
there's
some cases, yes.
No, it's the same blueprint.
It's called prefab. Yes, we do that.
Okay, because
Oh,
in
yeah.
Slovenia, when you build a house, it's not. You
same.
cannot. Yeah, it's not the same. Like
Yeah, you
every
build it.
house is different. Like you design it, you get the designer. Like people build a house, but in Texas, it's just like I thought it. I have like. I didn't understand it. It was like this kind of like. I don't know. Yeah.
Glitch in the Matrix.
Glitch in the Matrix, maybe.
That was Giga has
Because
that
everything was the same.
experience.
Like you have like this kind of barn thingies, and like a lot of people have these kind of barns next to the highway, and then you have buildings, and then you have it doesn't help. You have like chain restaurants, so they're also the same. Like what?
Yeah, it's
Giga's lying actually.
What?
Because when we were in Texas, I was driving and he was just like this.
Yeah, and then
he
I
probably-
woke up after 2 hours, and everything was the same. Like
He
did you drive anywhere, Pablo?
he saw 2 houses, the one we left and the one we arrived to. So
which were safe. Yeah.
before Airplane. This is Giga.
Yeah.
I time travel.
I think the Slovenia is a wonderful country. This is my second time here. The previous I was here like something like 23 years ago, backpacking, and the nature is something what especially caught my eye. The lots of woodlands. I love woodland because in Finland we have that a lot, but yours is different. It's those rolling hills, mountains, valleys, and it just looks beautiful. And kind of there is small country vibe. Like Finland is a small country, so there's the same type of.
Finland's a huge country that just doesn't have very many people. in it.
Finland is 4 million, 5?
Five.
But still, we are a small country, but like there's some vibe that you can relate. That hey, brothers.
Yeah, no, it is. We always say that Finnish people are in some way very similar.
Yeah,
to Swedes.
and I have enjoyed a lot and going through the city and going to the river and seeing some sights, and I really enjoyed it, and I definitely try to come back, like do more touristic stuff, not just a match, because the nature here is.
Well, if
really
you
cool.
guys would stay longer after the match as we initially planned,
Yes.
we would do some
But
sightseeing
if
and
you
stuff.
guys,
But
let's say if
I'm pretty sure you guys are
my
the ones kicking
microphone.
us out.
No, it's not correct. So Jordan, Jari, and Ian, can you choose one thing outside of the match that you're like, okay, that was fun, kinda?
he only saw the match.
Samo.
Jari? I have to think about this. For a minute.
I would say the hanging around with you guys, it's just like awesome fun.
Okay. What about the river? Did you say river?
River?
Yeah. You went on a river on a boat, right?
Yeah, we took the little boat tour of the, was it Ljubljanska?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ljubljanca.
Ljubljanca, the river that goes through Ljubljana.
Yeah.
It was absolutely beautiful. It was relaxing. It was.
Not as much as you.
There is an element of antiquity here that we absolutely do not have in the United States. There, you're on the tour and they're like, oh, that church over there. They don't say this, but this is the implication. That church over there was actually built before the first European set foot on your continent.
Yeah.
Which was like half a millennia before your country existed. We rebuilt that church twice before Columbus landed in the Caribbean. And, we're at home where we're like, my house is from the 1950s. It's pretty old, and we should probably just tear it down and start over.
Yeah, same for Finns. Like difference between the continental Europe and Finland is like we lived in kind of smoke huts and dirt pits when here was they had all the cool stuff. So even for us, it's like, damn, our ancestors were riding bears and like freaking.
To be fair, Finns are doing that to this day.
About to say that. I thought you rode a bear down here.
Yeah, but we're still primitive people compared to continental Europe counterparts.
Literally, one of the bridges we went under, the little,
The bridge.
the narrative that was going on the boat described this bridge, and it was built the same time that the Anasazi were building Mesa Verde out of mud bricks. They're like, it's a fascinating juxtaposition. You know where this also comes through? If you go down to the Old West,
AI are building mud huts.
if you go down to like the famous Old West, the stereotypical Old West towns, and Tombstone is a perfect example. Like the bookstores in Tombstone will have an entire wall of books in German. And you're like,
settlers.
and it's because no, it's German tourists.
Oh.
It's Europeans who come over to the U.S. and they're in the southwestern desert, and they're like, our city was in its 85th. We were rebuilding it for the last time in its current industrialized modern form, literally at the same time as the Old West. Haussmann was rebuilding Paris. Like they tore down all of medieval Paris, like out with the old, in with the modern Paris, at the exact same time that you've got the gunfight at the OK Corral. And there are a lot of European tourists who find that juxtaposition fascinating, and they love the Old West to the extent that the bookstores down there have entire shelves catering specifically to international tourists.
Shit. What was that town we were in? You know, when you're traveling from LA to Vegas, there was one old town, like a mining town, like really
Old Town.
There's going to be 1,000 of them down there. I don't know.
But it's quite big, and I actually felt like I'm in the wild west, and it was like, damn, nice.
It's cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's very cool because it is actually like in the movies.
But it's also vice versa when going from Europe to US. It took me of course I knew that it's a huge country, different states, different kind of cultures, but like experiencing it over the years, like some of the states are almost like a different countries. You almost speak the same language, but like the variance is so huge. It's almost same as here in Europe, except the language is more or less the same.
More or less.
I mean, had history gone differently, the U.S. could easily have been separate countries in the way that Europe is.
Yeah.
It was, and why, like, people from Minnesota speak like they're from Canada, man?
Because they're close to Canada.
Well, we have a ton of Scandinavian immigration into areas like Minnesota.
Yeah.
There were a lot of Swedes and Norwegians and Finns, who I recognize are not Scandinavian,
I have a bonus question.
who went
for
up
you.
there.
Bonus question. Where in North Europe do you think there are mostly Slovenian immigrants? Slovenian specifically.
Slovenians?
Yes.
I have absolutely no idea.
If I'm correct.
Great Britain.
Your mom's vagina. No, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's Toronto. And it's around like, I think...
Is Toronto in
You just
Northern
said
Europe?
Northern Europe.
Northern America.
Yeah.
Oh, you said
Right,
Northern
Europe.
Europe.
That's why I said Great Britain.
Oh, okay. I apologize. No, that's the fourth beer.
Toronto, huh?
Yeah, Toronto. Like, I think it's around 1 to 200,000 people.
I thought it was Argentina also.
We try not to talk about that.
The Argentinians really try not to talk about
You are also Slovenia is a small country, Finland is a small country. Do you have that cultural thing that if Slovenia is hitting the international news, that you all go to the central square and party like a crazy?
No, that's very much just a Finnish thing.
Yeah.
Oh, no. There's other countries in Europe that do that shit when they play soccer.
No, it doesn't have to be even a
You mean
sports
the real
event. It's like-
football?
For sports,
No, soccer.
For sports, yes,
Yes,
definitely.
okay.
Soccer.
Yeah.
But we have
What is
that
soccer?
culture thing probably very similar than if somebody says that his grandpa went to Argentina but then they came back. We're just like...
It is a uniquely Finnish thing. Like you have a specific word for it. That my god, yes, someone talked about us. Everyone meet in the town square because I see it in the comments. I can do videos from a lot of small countries, and only the Finn. Everyone else is like excited, like I do Uruguay, and
there's
all the Uruguayans who watch the channel get excited about it. But
There
only
was this
all four of them.
meme guy who was waving the Finnish flag with a beer can in the fountain of one of the squares in Helsinki, and he became the kind of he's the standard meme guy for that. But he died actually a few weeks ago, and there was a really nice what's it called?
Ceremony?
No, what do you
Obituary?
In Maine, kind of the largest newspaper in Finland about, and he was just an ordinary guy. He never monetized that. He was kind of, but they went through that how it impacted his life. Nothing. He was like, but yeah, it was a funny thing.
But what about the techno Viking? Wasn't he Finnish?
No, he's Danish, I think.
Yeah, fuck the Danes.
we were never we never got the Viking Club, and the Vikings did some of the ratings in Finland, and they got their asses whooped. But they were also smart enough to find out that we have nothing to loot.
Wow, they're
So
angry
then
and violent and poor. We're not gonna come back here.
So they came back and hey, we could use some good fighters. Do you want to come in? You get 10% of the loot. And guys were like, yeah, okay, sounds good. We never got kind of the Viking status, so that's
Because
why.
the boats pulled up and 90 shirtless dudes on bears came coming out of the woods, and they were like, no.
That only
Let's
means
go to Great Britain where they're all
that actually
pussies.
only means that they weren't able to get to your women, because that's how you would become Vikings
Yeah.
in the future,
Colonization.
right? Yeah, because like Sweden, like you say Sweden, like oh Vikings, like, that means that Vikings had to dominate Sweden, right? Like they procreate, and now the offspring are the result.
So
Wait,
you know?
domination means
So you
actually
were
penetration.
more powerful than the Vikings, I guess.
We
in some way.
think in
No,
that
those
way.
were
Because
just,
otherwise-
those were just Viking storks that brought the Viking babies. They're like regular storks, but they have the horn helmets.
Can we move back to firearms? And
So there's AI storks now.
So what's interesting about AI is that
okay, let's talk about another topic that's of a big interest to me.
beer.
Why
Okay.
why didn't the development of different kind of projectiles like those arrows, the spiv, or what is it like called?
Flechettes?
Flechettes, yeah. Was it the spiv program?
Spiv.
SPIF.
SPIW.
Yes, yeah, that was the.
Which
It
is
was
our-
called the Spew program because when you saw the guns, you went.
All right, so the thing that caused flechettes to fail
Yeah.
is that they have to be precisely made to be accurate. So there are tank rounds that work the same way.
Look, they have to be precisely made to be accurate.
Yes.
I don't think that's a limitation now. You can
Well,
make stuff precise.
But remember, this is a multi-component element. You've got the dart, you've got the tail fins, you've got the sabot that goes around it. The sabot has to break off in a precise, predictable, repeatable way so that it doesn't interfere with the path of the dart. Like, we do tank rounds this way.
Yeah.
And it's perfectly economical to spend a lot of time and care making every tank sabot work exactly right. But when you scale that down to small arms, you're making billions of rounds, and you can't economically do that to the same level of precision.
I disagree on this because, again, we are on a level like when they made the flechette rounds, is a new thing, and there was no actual development or mass production behind it. But just look at the precision rifle rounds now, like the guys that use it for F-class or something. Those rounds are made super precise, and we have the machining, we have everything. You just need to have like enough, buying power behind it. So I don't think that's a limitation. But why I ask is because, okay, flechettes, they were a special thing, but we are moving now, again, from the side of sport shooters and performance shooters where you need like just a little bit of better performance makes a big difference in competition. That's why it's promoted. That's why people put more money in it. But we are coming to an era where we are elongating the projectiles, making them better with better ballistic coefficient. So essentially, we are getting to maybe not to flechettes, but something similar to flechettes, right? So again, like what I'm predicting will happen is this kind of like super precise and more effective projectiles will sooner or later come into use in militaries, like maybe in 10 years or something.
The
10
issue there
years
is that
a short period.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
flechette rounds were not designed to be super precise rounds.
Okay, but they were very fast, and you
They
could
were
get
very fast,
Yeah.
but they were created to give you a better chance to hit on a target, not necessarily
firing
put
two,
all
right?
of-
or 3
or 3.
However,
but the thing is, like,
many flechettes are
what-
in the case, but you're still getting.
I think it was 1 flechette in the.
there are systems for both.
Yeah.
There were bees' nest sort of like 40 millimeter flechette rounds. There were shotgun rounds. A lot of them were, however, single flechette cartridges.
Because the what I see the positive side of like this kind of ammunition is that it's super fast. It has a really good ballistic trajectory. It has low recoil. So like it makes kind of sense. And if you have very high velocity, it will not transfer, but it will still deliver a lot of energy if it can transfer it to.
So there were some other issues that came up with them. One is penetration. We're talking about like 10 grain projectiles, 12 grain projectiles. They are very easily bent when they impact something.
Deflection.
It's now, again, maybe if you're willing to spend more, maybe you make the whole dart out of a hardened tungsten carbide or hardened steel. But that's a huge amount of cost. One of the least
Look at the development, like the 8055A1, right? It uses a tungsten projectile, right?
Yeah.
Like in the past, if you would try to
tungsten.
partially, but if you try to explain to someone that like military will use like tungsten projectiles for armor piercing for everyone, like people will say you're crazy. Like, why? It doesn't matter. It's like it's too expensive.
Here's one of the funny things. Probably the least expected problem with flechettes was you've got this plastic sabot, but you have to have something to hold the projectile in the bore. And by the way, it also has to be precisely made, because if it doesn't hold it nicely centered, your precision's gone. One of the problems they had was in order to get that off the flechette like predictably and repeatably, they essentially had a stripper mechanism in the muzzle device. And it created like aerosolized plastic and basically gave the test troops lung cancer. Like there was a serious health risk from the muzzle debris coming out of, I mean, we're talking like vaporized asbestos sorts of things.
But I think the development of cartridges will come from both the militaries and the regulation, because in EU there is this lead
super dangerous, especially if it's traveling at 2,000 feet per second.
Yeah, so I think that type of regulation, if it kicks in fully, and
it will,
and the also the needs of the military, like piercing certain level armor, being the cost effective, those will be the driving forces, even for everyday Joes like we, that because ammo can't be too expensive,
right?
And it needs to be kind of available and all that. So I think there's a room for really good innovations around the materials, about the manufacturing techniques. But the problem is it needs to be kind of downward compatible with all the legacy until what year? Like year zero.
Cartridge is 1860.
Yeah.
Basically.
So that's, I think, is the kind of the puzzle, and the I hope that people in different cartridge manufacturers are thinking that what the fuck we are going to do.
Yeah.
Here is a fair warning for our viewers. What I want to say is that we spoke with a couple of ammo manufacturers. This regulation and the new legislation is coming. It's not the question of if, but when. For Europe, definitely, I think in shorter span than 10 years, maybe 5, even less, depending on the ammunition. So my advice is that stock up on ammo. If you look in the past, like there was no instance that I remember in my lifetime that ammo became cheaper. It just stayed the same price or got more expensive. So like I don't suggest just go into the store and buy like a bulk of ammo, but if you have some extra money and if you're a shooter or if you're a prepper or whatever you are, stock up on ammo because it will become less and less available. I personally do not believe that there will be any big surplus from Ukraine or the war, because even if the war ends right now, like most of the militaries will still try to stockpile as much as they can because they were caught unprepared. And if this regulation hits or when it hits, that means that ammo without lead will be much more expensive.
Yeah.
This is a perfect time where we need to thank our sponsors, Later and Below, for all of the ammo.
We are stockpiling ammo.
We are
so
stockpiling
so
ammo.
So should you.
And we are very, do we really need that kind of ammo? No, we will stockpile it.
This will be a perfect opportunity to just get like a
Jan, Facebook
discount code or something for Later and Below.
Yeah, man.
Quality ammo for affordable price. Do you also want to make a shout out for some sponsors?
I'm not cool. I don't really have sponsors.
No, you have so much money, you don't need sponsors.
Yeah, thanks, YouTube. I wish.
Yeah. I can hook you up with demo if you want to.
Yes, please.
I think YouTube is studying from the HK book. YouTube, because you suck and we hate you.
Jordan, now you.
I got nothing.
Like there's so like
I want to thank our sponsors, Polenar Tactical,
And Varosteleka.
even though Giga is womanly man.
what?
Dankeschön.
What is Ian wearing today? Probably Varosteleka.
That's Varosteleka?
The shirt is not.
Okay.
Sorry, you guys don't yet have a line of
That would be
swanky
awesome.
Hawaiian
horrible
shirts.
No, we
shirts.
don't. But you could have the proper good wool checked shirt.
I do have one of those.
I do not have one
Yeah,
of those.
I think those are very expensive.
I pretty much wear tactical jeans from Varosteleka every day that it's under 90 degrees at home.
Are these the merino wool?
Everything they make is merino wool.
Yeah.
You want to
That's
touch?
Touch me. Can I touch
No,
your
those are
hands?
really high quality. And the last time, like on Finnish Brutality, I wanted to buy one, saw the price, and it was not the price. It was like I'm always hot. I don't know why, but like even in the winter, like I would just put some like long sleeves on. So I couldn't justify the price for the amount of time in the year that I could wear that.
You know
Because
what?
Look, like he looks comfortable. Like I'm
Yeah.
already hot. Like I would need short shorts right now.
But
You know what stage 11 of Finnish Brutality is every year?
What?
It is after the match. You come back to Helsinki. You go to the Varosteleka store.
Yeah.
And
First, you
and the-
drink a couple of beers that are mandatory.
Yes.
And then they let you into the store and just like roam
and
around and
well,
buy stuff.
And
yeah,
you know,
I know.
and you try to get out of the store without spending 500 euros.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone has yet succeeded.
No.
Yeah. I have to
I
You
did
don't
only
harm.
because I didn't have 500 euros.
I have to point out that it looks like Ian and me were planning on the shirts, the Hawaiian shirts. But yes, very good. Yes, next time.
Yes.
I
very
can,
good,
I can
yes.
hook you up.
Do you know somebody in Varosteleka?
Yeah, I know.
Are you out? No, Tony's out for smoking. Yeah. Gear.
You
stuff.
do need to have a line of arid, hot
Yeah.
weather clothing.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that's missing. I guess there's not maybe much call for it in Finland, but
There,
you know.
it's Finnish summer is crazy like that. It's really short. It's counted on
weeks.
days or weeks
about 4
in
hours.
maximum. But when it's hot, it's like on our scale really hot, like from 25 to 32, which is mild for you.
That's what,
But
low 90s, I think.
yeah. But it is there, and the problem comes that you only have the merino wool and like.
All I have is this summer parka.
So it's a difficult period and it's also acclimation. Like suddenly you are like, God damn, it's hot.
It was great here at Lynx last year when it was unseasonably warm, which meant high 80s, low 90s. And we're here from the U.S., from Arizona, and we're like, this is wonderful. I'm in a 3-piece suit, and I feel fine. And everybody around me is in T-shirts and shorts and dying of the heat.
Well, one point that I want to make, like merino wool is super amazing. My favorite hoodie is definitely the Varosteleka one. It's so amazing because you can wear it from 0 degrees to like 30 degrees.
Yeah.
It just like the property of the material, it's moisture wicking, but it's also like very, it breathes but isolates nicely.
It's best kind of.
And it's natural.
Yeah, that's why we do a lot of our stuff from wool, because we love wool, and it has another properties which are good for our type of people who are with the firearms and everything. It's usually no melt, no drip. Like that's a good property, and like compared to some of the synthetics, it doesn't start to smell too fast. So you're gonna be sweaty and grimy, and you're not like a swamp monster after that.
I didn't understand how good it is until look. I always wear cotton t-shirts, and cotton, like for this our climate, it's okay, but cotton is actually the worst. Like when you come to Finland, and the temperatures are a bit more extreme, like not extreme for you guys, but like cotton can literally kill you.
Yeah, the saying
If you
is
sweat, it gets drenched with sweat,
Yeah.
and then it's cold and you're losing temperature. It's crazy. Yeah.
It's good stuff, and works quite well, and but that's definitely something what we're now working with to get some of the hot weather gear as well, because now we have guys who have been working or been deployed in hot countries, so they know what are the requirements, and also because now we're a NATO country, probably we
Congrats on that.
need to
Welcome.
we need to have a variant for hotter weather and also in a multicam. So let's see, we can serve you up for Arizona.
Yes. But also this Hawaiian shirt, please.
Okay, Hawaiian shirts.
Yes, I buy.
What should be the pattern?
I will show you.
Yari's face.
I would say like ARs, AKs, Uzis, Desert Eagles, just like printed everywhere.
Okay.
That's the pattern. No like multicam, fuck
No.
that. Just like gun and gear.
How about dick butts and
Also works.
Yeah.
Dildos, doesn't matter. Just that it's fun and
Yes.
light and fresh.
Palm trees and polar bears.
Oh.
Moose.
Or-
Palm trees and moose.
Or Ian pattern, or make the nice kind of silhouette from Ziga's ass.
No. I have a good one. We take a nice photo with stupid faces, like, and then just print it all over the shirt.
Yeah.
I would buy that.
Our product development gonna love this when I go there. Hey, I got an idea from Samo.
It's stupid, but it's stupid. Out.
Okay, I think we had enough talk with Samos off topics.
Let's
I
go
really-
back to AI.
Yes.
So,
I really want to talk about guns. More about guns. I think we spoke about this in our last podcast, but I feel it not enough. What do you think about the new M5 rifle for the US military? Is that the right direction or no?
M7.
So
Oh,
it is
M7.
It is the M7 now.
Oh, okay.
So
But it was the M5.
It was the M5, and then someone realized that Colt has trademarked M5 because Colt wanted to have the next thing from the M4. So they reversed. They released the what they call the M5 on the civilian market, which is an M4 with some bits. And rather than deal with fighting them, the army went, all right, fine, it's the M7.
Did they now book all the M to 999?
It's basically like camping on domain names, yeah. Why they skipped M6, I don't know. But it is now it's the
Wasn't the
XM.
M6 was a tank or something, or armored vehicle? Wasn't it?
Oh, we have the M6 of everything. Thank you. At any rate, it is now the XM7, so it has not officially been adopted as the standard weapon, but it has been. It's going into large-scale testing, field testing, and I do not understand it. Like, it's a good gun. It's technically a good gun. It's reliable. It does exactly what the package says, but I truly don't understand the rationale. We're dropping magazine capacities by 30%. We're going from 30 to 20. Recoil is increasing. Ammo capacity is decreasing. As far as I know, the stated reason is armor penetration, which I don't understand. It's a thing, but is it really that much better than something like M995, 308 AP? Okay, so
yeah, but you will still need a 308 rifle. Because
Yeah.
this one, like, how I understand it, I think that's a logical step.
What the fuck was that?
I was almost dying. That's my.
He disagrees with my opinion.
No.
You cannot breathe beer.
He
No, I
disagrees
can't.
with my opinion. I think it's a logical step because level 4 ballistic plates are readily available, and I think moving back to 308 would be a step backwards. But this is not like, oh yeah, like it is kind of like a 308, but if you get it in a proper caliber with pressures that they designed it for, it is much more capable. But it's like okay, this is also a very controversial topic, and I know that we got a shitload of comments. But 308 versus 6.5 Creedmoor. I'm sorry, but on all the fucking levels, 6.5 is better. It's 308 case with a better bullet design that I think only in the range of 250 or 300 meters, the 308 has a little bit more energy. That's it.
Yeah.
Forward, like 6.5 retains more energy, has better ballistics, has less deviation from wind and everything. Like it's an improved cartridge. But people are saying, oh, 308, it's a powerful cartridge or whatever. So I think that it is an innovation. Now, I don't know if if the performance of the cartridge is worth the added weight and cumbersome of the weapon.
That is the core question.
Yeah.
Because it is definitely a
But
more
again,
potent cartridge.
I think when we are thinking about the new weapon system, we're only thinking about the rifle. You need to pair it with the optic that it was designed for. And if that works together as it's designed, I think that's a really good big step in the right direction, because essentially the optic does some of the smart things for you, like you were explaining. Like
Now, the other part of this system is the XM250 GPMG, the machine gun.
oh yeah.
And to me, the machine gun makes a tremendous amount of sense. That cartridge, belt fed in that machine gun, like, that replaces the 240. In theory, it could replace the 249, maybe. But I think the machine gun looks fantastic. Hopefully I'll have a chance to actually tinker with one. I haven't yet. But, man, it's an individual rifle, like...
Yeah, because it's like I don't know the specifics so intimately, but you also need to the choice of the service weapon is always related to doctrine,
Yeah.
and that is probably something we don't. He doesn't agree with me, but but
All the
it is-
Slovenians have drinking problems.
Yeah, yeah. That would be considered as a mortal sin in Finland. But so I think that needs to be taken into account, and from a crunch perspective, that I get kind of heavier cartridges, and I have 10 less, I would be worried.
Yeah.
Like, because even though there would be a kind of lots of systems in a rifle or in optics, like you still would feel more comfortable that more ammo is more ammo. I don't know how the system works, but as Chuck Presbury had the long talk in one of the, I think it was primary, secondary, or some other podcast, that which one, 308 or 556, and he was like, I take a 556 like over any given day because you have like a lot more ammo.
The capacity to shoot more
Yeah,
is a really substantial benefit.
yeah.
I'm not sure what they're laughing at.
I would just like to add first about the Giga stuff. Officer Giga reporting for duty, and then what was this? Now we can continue.
My point is that
Your point is invalid beyond this point, but we will listen politely and show understanding.
I'm not listening.
if implemented correctly,
It's
and
bullshit.
if we put it side by side, but like let's say an M4, you have a target over there, and you try to fire a couple of shots at the target, maybe hit it with a second shot or third shot, but then you have this better system that identifies the target, gets you proper ballistics, and you get one or second shot secured hit, and target goes down. Is that worth more less ammo in your magazine or not?
No.
Because No?
No, because what you're describing here isn't potentially isn't the cartridge. So what you're saying is like an M4 without like whatever the new tracking thing is, you might need to walk your shots on. But if you use the same rifle with that optic that tracks your shit, you're going to get that first round hit, and that's
The optic doesn't have to be unique to the cartridge.
like
That's true, but
The cartridge- at
if
that point, that
what
first
if
round
your
hit
opponent
doesn't-
is Russian and he has level 4 plates? Or
we found out that the Russians do not have level 4 plates.
More appropriate, or if your opponent is Chinese and he has like those cheap level 4 plates that they have, like, and they sell to everyone now, or Taliban with the level 4 plates from China. Do you understand?
One
Like-
of the things I would really like to see is some actual testing on the military spec ammo.
Yeah, they don't
How-
want to. They don't want to release it.
And I get that.
All of
because
the testing that I saw that was done was not with proper military cartridge.
And
it
I
was way under 50,000 psi.
I understand why they would want to keep that quiet. But I'm still very curious of how much benefit in armor penetration do we actually get? Because if it's not much, is it worth, like, what if...
You are the only military force that can defeat level 4 body armor, that's a big advantage.
But
Okay,
I challenge that because
that capability is not there for any.
I challenge that a bit. I never been in a war, but like trained that quite a bit. Like we talk about 10 by 12 plate here, and then some side armor. There's a lot of tissue which is not covered, and like penetrating this centerpiece. Yeah, it's essential, but like I don't know, I would be scared shitless and probably would be out of fight at least for some time if I would being hit by 5.56.
If you have level 4 plates and you get hit in the chest directly, you're not going to just walk away right away.
But what?
Okay.
What,
Just
like-
before the brutality, I saw some pictures of a guy in Russia who was hit directly in the plate. He had a bruise, and
That's
he
why
was
we do
fighting.
that. We
Yeah,
do
but-
the Mozambique drill.
So what happens if we can penetrate level 4, and it takes China a year or two, and they develop 4+ plates, or
Level
maybe they,
5.
Maybe they take the exact same armor and they make it 25% thicker.
Yeah, but they will have to carry more weight, and they will have to replace all of the plates.
Yeah, but then
Yeah,
we
but
would have
we've
to design
already-
a whole new cartridge
We've
again.
already replaced the entire weapon system.
Now
and
we get
ta-
7 by 51.
and
Look,
ta- well,
look,
and
yeah,
take
this
it-
is the armor penetration rate,
Right.
That you always see.
But the thing, it's not just the weapon and the armor; it's the downsides that come with the new weapon.
Yeah, but it will not count. You don't only get downsides because you now got the better weapon, and it's not just like armor penetration. Like realistically, with the new rifle, I never shot it, so I cannot say from my experience or from what I saw. Sorry, but you can make much better hits and much longer distances with any 5.56 rifle.
Yeah.
And the 5.56, if you push it past 400 meters, it loses so much energy that it's not useless. It's far from useless,
Yeah.
but it's not realistically viable for combat.
But who cares?
Okay.
We've seen battlefield studies of
What
range.
I think like this. If it was the issue of who cares, then we will still be using some obsolete firearms. And if you have this kind of mentality, if you have a lot of people and you don't care about people and you just want to arm them for very cheap, you get Russia and they still issue old AKs.
No,
or modernized AKs, and that's it. And like they don't care about you and your capabilities.
No, I think
But I don't think
got
that's the
it.
right step.
the opportunities to make hits at 400 yards are simply extremely rare because we can. We can. There have been a bunch of battlefield studies of where small arms are actually used effectively to hit enemy soldiers in combat, and the vast majority are under 200, and the majority are 100 meters and in. And so, as a result of all those studies, the conclusion that people came to was we do not need full power rifle cartridges. We don't need 8mm Mauser. We don't need 54 rimmed, because the capacity to make a hit at 800 yards is that the ballistic capacity is immaterial if you can't actually make a line of sight and see an enemy and engage them at that
That was
distance.
before armor.
If you have an enemy at 800 yards and you're a small squadron, you're just going to identify that target and go, "Hey, they're over here. Send the shit."
There were a fascinating group of studies that looked at not the ballistics at all, but how often do you have a line of sight of more than 400 yards where you could have a 300 Norma Ultra Mag, but there's a hill in the way, or there's a forest in the way. And it's... So yes, we're getting to a...
Look, realistically, you'll... Like, even the doctrine does not want you to engage on targets that you just see somewhere in the distance, because you cannot even identify if that's your squad or not.
Yeah, so then why do you need the ballistic advantage of the cartridge going that far?
First, because you can penetrate armor, and a cartridge that can hit target at 600 meters reliably means that at 200 meters you will hit exactly where you want to. And you could see at the Brutality, for example, where targets were at 80 meters and people missed. That's the reason. Like, if you have such a better system, that means that even in smaller distances, you get an advantage.
But there are other advantages. There are other advantages and trade-offs.
Of course.
By going to a smaller cartridge, you get 50% more ammo.
Yeah, but is the ammo really a better thing? Because if you look at I saw some study, I don't know what exactly it was, but it was from Second World War forward. Like, how many rounds like people expended to kill an enemy, and it's like it seems like they are just shooting at everything. Wouldn't it be better to, instead of like increase the number of rounds shot at the enemy, to make it more precise and more effective?
Would that system kind of remove all the flinching, all the fuckery what you could do under the stress, human nature?
The problem with the ammo capacity is, yes, maybe you would be able to make more precise shots, but let's say you're out on patrol and then you're stuck on patrol and you encounter enemy for 2-3 days. You're out of ammo. You're done.
But that would be the same with 5.6.
Yeah, but you could last longer because you have more ammo.
Would it make a difference if you die anyway? Like, if
you're gonna make that argument, then it's like, well, why carry any ammo? Like,
yeah, but those kind of examples, like, you really have to think about it. If it's like it's a good argument to get more ammo.
Yeah.
Because then why shouldn't we move? Why use 5.6? We can make a smaller, lighter cartridge and get more ammo for people. It maybe won't be able to penetrate the level 3 plate, but as we figured, the plate is very small, so you can hit him in other parts of the body. So let's just get more ammo.
We'll just shoot him with a 22. Because
it's very
it
deadly
goes in
here.
and then it just bounces around.
I don't know.
There is some level where it has to.
I lack the real life experience to talk about this topic, but
everybody probably here.
But in that perspective, what I said in the beginning, that I think it's tied to the doctrine, and from as a gut feeling that if you can't have, at least the same amount of ammo what you have previously had, at least it's a training issue, it's a doctrine issue, and probably many of the people might feel uncomfortable. It changes over the time when, the stuff kicks in, but yeah, I don't know.
Part of me is really curious if there's some element of this new rifle question that I'm missing. Is there a benefit to it that I don't understand, that I'm not aware of? Because to me, the trade-off that we've made isn't worth it on the balance. The armor penetration is absolutely, presumably, because I've never seen numbers, obviously someone has, but assuming we get better armor penetration and longer range ballistics, those are both good things, but we're giving up an awful lot to get them. Like you talked about Chinese
barrel life.
Like if you invent level 5 armor, everyone wearing it's going to be carrying more. Well, the combat load of the guys carrying the XM7 is already increased by more than the difference of better armor with the XM7, because with its scope, it weighs like 15 pounds. So part of me is like, this seems like such a bad trade-off that I must be missing something. But I have not yet been able to learn what it is that I'm missing. So I'm kind of just sitting back at this point and waiting to see what happens with this system.
Ian knows how to word things.
Yeah,
It's funny
let's
discussions.
try the XM7.
Have you
at
guys
that.
tried any long range shooting or longer range shooting with like normal rifles?
I did an NRA high power match with a Daewoo K2 and it was really, really bad.
You come to a distance where like you see the limitation of the cartridge, where it goes close to the transonic range, and it just like you cannot make any reliable hits anymore. Like you're aiming at the same point and it goes like bloop 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 bloop.
Yeah, but what we're talking about, close to 1,000 meters?
No.
Transonic.
AK on 700s.
No, AK, it's AK 450 from a normal barrel. Depends what
I'm sorry,
what
I
kind
thought we were
of.
talking about accurate rifles in the first place.
No, yeah, like, look, this is the rifles that people use as military. Like 5.56 is a bit better, but not much. Like if you have a really long barrel, but again, we're then thinking about
10.5s.
we're thinking about long rifles, which also have drawbacks, right? Now they have shorter barrels, but 20-inch AR, what is it? I think it's 600 and something meters.
That's 3,200 freedoms per second.
Yeah. No, I mean the distance. Like at 600 and something meters, like you get close. It depends on your elevation, where you are. You know, if you're at the seaside or where. But the thing is, you could see if you tried it. You see where the limitation of the cartridge is. Like you can see the person there. You can aim directly at him, especially if you have like 4x magnification or something, and it just bounces around him. Like you cannot get a reliable hit. When you see that, like you see, like that's why I changed some calibers in my arsenal. Not that like, oh, I want to engage people at longer distances, but I see that okay. This cartridge.
People say target.
This cartridge is okay for normal close range engagements, but it has a lot of limitation on longer range. For example, one thing that really surprised me, I think I told both of you already, but that Finnish Brutality where I brought my AK, the targets were at 70 up to 120 meters, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is a real thing, but when I was under adrenaline, I noticed the lag between when I aimed with the AK, shot, and there was a lag before I got the confirmation that I hit the steel target.
real.
With 2 to 3, it's way better. When I shoot the target, I hear the hit. I had faster confirmation. I could faster move from this target to the other target. With my AK, I had to shoot, hear it, and then move. Like it was a difference. And it's like
can I
it's so little, but it makes a difference. So.
put some funny thing in between that is not too serious. We still have the RK series is still our service rifle, so it's 7.62-39. And now there is an announcement that Sako is producing the test line for Finnish Army, and Swedes are ordering the rifles. It will be 5.56, like AR type of platform. And all the Finnish discussion boards, like reservist and whatever, like it was so hilarious. We were playing Pingo at the office. Like, do you find that all the branches and twigs will kind of ruin your shots? I think you guys used those in Vietnam, and it didn't play out well, but at least McVisock did some crazy shit. Yeah, you can kind of grab the ammo from the enemy. Okay, maybe nowadays because they have rolled back to the some time, but
coming soon, Berdan, 10.2 Berdan.
So that was like definitely one which repeated million times, and then was of course that how reliable the AK platform is compared to these shitty ARs. And
what I'm hearing is the Finnish gun community discussion is approximately one Vietnam War behind where we are right now in the US.
Yes, it was so freaking hilarious, and So I think for every service rifle change, there is this period that.
Oh, absolutely. The new thing is always crap, and the old thing was always the greatest thing ever. Even though last week when you had it on exercise, you freaking hated it because it was awful. But now that they're going to replace it, oh my God, we're all going to die.
The new Finnish rifle made by Mattel.
Yeah.
Except in Slovenia, everybody's hating the new rifle, and they can't wait to get the new one, a newer one.
The F2000.
Yeah.
The tactical tuna. How
I
you
can-
hate
I
the
can
tuna?
tell you that-
got the space rifle. Yeah.
A lot of it's all around. A lot of people that don't know how to use the rifles hate them, but also some really good shooters and really good like army guys that know how to use firearms also hate it because it has a limitation.
So-
you know, like I also had a love-hate relationship with it because it's light, it's very convenient, very ergonomic. Most of the time we didn't shoot it. Most of the time we just had to have it with us, hiking, doing stuff, being on terrain, being in vehicles. It's perfect for that.
Light rifle.
Also shooting, still to this day, I have the best result for 5-round shot with iron sights at 100 meters with my service F2000S. It has a backup sight with such a small peephole that it was super precise. Like it kind of very zoomed in my vision. It's really precise. The trigger is shit, but like I could do a lot with that rifle. Then there are the drawbacks, like no bolt hold open. You cannot see like what's happening unless you open it. It just has so many drawbacks that could be easily finished, ironed out, and improved if someone would develop this rifle further. But in this configuration right now, I also like on the general side of things, I would not use it for any military. I think there are much better, much more evolved and matured rifles that could replace it, and it would be better for everyone.
But is it?
SR-80.
It could be an L82. It could be an AK-12.
No,
But isn't
no.
like isn't like a plastic whatever, it's polymer whatever. Rifle much better for, especially like F2000, better for police use than military use, just because of the material. Giga-yen.
Why?
No.
No, I'm asking.
No.
I'm asking.
Like
No.
I don't play like
the rifle needs to be durable, especially if you have a conscript army, as the rifles go through a lot of beating. But when you have fully stacked RK 62 M3 with the optics, light, laser, full magazine, and you try to take a corner, it's a
heavy thing.
it's a thick boy.
No, I know, but just because
it can kind of withstand whatever. You can
My
virtually.
question-
So your question
So-
is basically, isn't it okay for police to have them because they're going to be subjected to less strenuous?
no, just less beating the rifle.
Yeah, but I think
that's-
nowadays you
it's,
can
modern
do.
polymers
it's a black
are
rifle. I don't think it's
so-
good for police.
But nowadays you can do a light rifle with modern materials, which can withstand
exactly.
that beating. But some.
But since I'm not an
Look,
expert,
don't get me wrong. F2000s are very, very durable, and the outer plastic shell is actually like very, very durable, and it's harder to break it than a lot of aluminum rifles.
Yeah.
But one thing that they did, I don't know if it was intentional or what, but the charging handle, it's two-piece design, and the thing that connects it is plastic. Instead of making like two, I don't know, steel joints or whatever, like it's plastic. So if someone like really pulled it too much or bumped it, you could break it off.
Oh,
But the piece sticking out was still enough to charge a rifle.
okay.
And I never figured like why didn't they correct this, or if it was intentional that if you break this, like if you load a lot of force on it, you break the plastic, you do not break or bend the internal part. So maybe that was it.
smart.
But that was not the downside of the rifle. The downside was that if you are not good with firearms, you can fuck up the rifle. That's one thing, but that applies to a lot of rifles. For example, I know one guy that was with me in the basic military training. he like moved the sight to where he felt comfortable aiming through it, and wondered why he didn't hit anything. The other guy played with a gas system and wondered why his rifle is not cycling, and so on. So
But that's not the rifle's fault.
exactly,
That's not the rifle's
I know,
The
fault.
but,
rifle needs to be, I guess, stupid for the average Joe. because
yes.
but the trigger
that's
is
the problem.
horrendous. Like, did you try it?
Oh,
at
yeah.
all?
Oh, it's nuts.
Oh
Yeah.
fuck! It's like not even pushing the plastic trigger. It feels like you're bending some plastic. It's sand in between. It's like grit.
crunchy.
It's a staple gun.
No, staple gun has a better trigger feel than F2000. Really. Have you shot with F2000?
Yeah.
Have you shot with F2000?
I have never tried.
It's
I need to
horrible.
kind of try it sometime.
What I did when I was we got one rifle for my for the basic training thingy that I did. Every time that we had to disassemble it and clean it, and this was like again a stupid thing. It was the mentality from old AKs. Like you have to clean the rifle all the time. We didn't even shoot it, and people were destroying barrels because they were cleaning the barrels for no reason. It's 2 to 3. It's like non-corrosive ammo. Even if you shoot 50 shots, like the barrel is squeaky clean. Don't mar it with the with the cleaning rod. So what I did, I put the rifle apart, took the trigger mechanism out, and I lubed it on all of the contact points, and I was just like grinding it all the time, with my hand,
Yeah.
squeezing it. And when we did like the marches with rucksack and everything, I put it on full auto every time and just squeeze the trigger. So it was like grinding and kind of polishing. So I had the best trigger of them all, but it was still really bad.
That's funny, Finnish service rifles are case because they have been used a lot, a long time. You can get issued with some really nice kind of match grade triggers. One FTX not that long ago, I had almost like a hair trigger in it. Like I was issued the gun, I check it and then made the empty shot like click. Oh, very nice. And I bet that you can't do that type of trigger work out of the workbench. It was just the rifle was actually older than me, so it was an ancient rifle. Chapaus joo.
Yes, I will.
Chika ilman maineketelpeli.
No, I pointed to my watch to say Giga time because in approximately 20 minutes we need to move Ian and the guys to our shop because we have a meet and greet there.
Yes.
So how do you think AI will help?
Us to get there.
It will help me with finding...
You are laughing now. In 10 years, you will not be alive anymore.
I wouldn't, even if without AI, I won't be alive in 10 years.
Hey, Jordan, you're
That's on
pushing
you.
it. We're shifting back, man.
We'll revisit this discussion in 10 years when
Yes.
we're all re-meeting up again in the bunker hiding from the Terminators.
Lynx
where we are now.
2033
But
against Arnold
honestly, would that be
Schwarzenegger.
such a bad future? Like I would.
Somebody said
if
it really correctly. Like he said it. It depends on which hands it goes to. It can be a very positive thing in our life, or it
Well, I
can
could
be a
finally
very,
use all my
Shut the
guns and
fuck
ammo.
up, Giga. Or a very evil thing. It depends on how we make it. It's like Facebook. Facebook was awesome, and then old people joined Facebook, and it was just like.
Are you saying
Samo, you are old people now.
No,
you realize that?
But I'm very polite on the internet.
We are all old people
You're,
now.
you're
Fuck.
saying the future is not set? There is
Yeah.
no fate but what
Yeah.
we make for ourselves?
Exactly. Arnold, it is like that, yes.
Hey guys, last question. How do you feel having guests here, ruining your daily
Yeah.
schedules and kind of?
I can go first. I don't mind. I like it. I always say to people that I'm very, very rich, and they say, "What do you mean?" Because you don't have any money. And I say I am rich because I have a lot of friends.
Yeah,
I'm looking
take that
there.
shit to the store and try and buy stuff.
With friends.
Look,
Do you know you can
perfect
you can
example.
sell friends?
I'd like a 12-pack of beer, please. Here, take this.
Perfect example. It was yesterday, right? Some one of our buddies lost a case. Bam, bam, bam. Telephones. He got a case, right? So I love having friends. I love you having being around, and it's not a burden. I have fun. I'm not looking at you. I'm looking at this just because of the sound, just in case. But yeah, we're used to it because this is we're doing this. Jordan. We're doing this for many years already, and it's fun, especially because fuck off, guys. Just go home. Fuck you, fucking America.
That was your guy.
Fuck your NATO and go home.
I'm going back to Yugoslavia.
Giga, no.
Well, before we end this very intellectual podcast. Okay,
So now this has turned into the Three Stooges over here.
before we end this very intellectual. Okay, so
Alright, I'm done.
to the 3 viewers that are still listening to this, can we please continue with the final question?
If it's about AI, I'm going home.
No, he's
But it's about
answering.
physics.
No, you have to answer what they asked.
What?
Yeah, you
what
didn't
did
answer
ask?
the question.
I wasn't listening. It's my podcast. I'm asking questions.
I asked that. How do you feel having us here as a guests?
Oh, it's amazing. Like I see this as vacation. Like I had to work for 4 days for the match, but it's our own fault. I wanted to make it run properly for everyone, but otherwise, like having you guys here or us coming to Finland or to the States, it's amazing. That's why I do this job, because, like Samo said, we are not really rich in the amount of money. But what makes it awesome is that we can travel, we can, I don't know, like socialize with you guys, shoot matches, have great time, yeah, and drink. So
Jari always cooks us.
cheers.
Here.
Zdravia.
First time I was in Finland, I thought, oh, then I'm gonna meet some ladies, and they were talking about gear and fucking guns and I went shit-faced and went to sleep. Guys, you're interrupting.
Okay, can you do one last thing? Do you guys know about the age-old question of people wondering if you get shot in your helmet, ballistic helmet, right?
Is this an ad for a new video that
the
you're
amount
doing?
of energy that you receive, can it break your neck?
No.
Nice. What do you think?
No, nice. What do you think? Say no then.
No, because it's a very complex question.
I think if you get knocked with enough energy and you are a weak person, it's plausible.
Okay, so if you're a vegan, there's a big chance
Are
your
we
neck
talking
gets...
about a scaling helmet and round? Whereas the larger the
No,
round
Okay,
gets,
no.
the
The
helmet
thing
scales
is
to
that
stop it?
a lot of people, like, we did a couple of tests on ballistics helmets, and some people, like, it stopped the 50 AE rounds from Desert Eagle, and I think that's survivable. I think the biggest problem is backface deformation, because it would touch your head, and that will also transfer energy. But I also think, again, this is not like my expert opinion, but I also think that the amount of energy transferred will not crack your skull, because you have people surviving car accidents at really big speeds, like.
But there is also vice versa that even with which looks like not that big of a deal either with a motorcycle or with a car, you get, especially with the motorcycles, you get your kind of next at least whiplash. So I would say it's plausible. I don't have enough information about the topic.
Kinetic energy is not conserved, but momentum is conserved. And the amount of momentum in a bullet is trivial compared to most impacts that we're used to. You have someone throw a baseball at you and it hits you, it's going to have more momentum than a bullet.
Yeah.
There's no way that getting hit in the head with a bullet will break your neck backwards.
I'm so happy I asked this question because it depends on which level of understanding physics you are on, because some people say immediately like, oh yeah, it will break your neck because they're seeing the tremendous force that and damage that bullet can cause. But on the other side, like, you have some people that say like, oh yeah, if the recoil doesn't, I don't know, like
Break your shoulder,
it will not I don't know, like, break your neck.
Perfect experiment. Put the butt of the gun on your forehead and fire it.
Yeah.
If that doesn't break your neck, then hit with a bullet isn't going to either.
But there's
Coming soon, ballistic helmet testing on a gel dummy with a neck.
Okay.
No.
But there's also one variable here that's important. The amount of force and the amount of time that force is released, transferred. Because the bullet doesn't have, like, it has a lot of force, but why it's so powerful, it's transferred in a very small area in a very short amount of time. Because like you said, if you throw a baseball, sometimes it will have more energy than a bullet. But because the baseball is traveling slower, it has a lot of area, and the transfer of energy is slower. It will not hurt you as much.
Yes.
But a good example of this is bows and arrows. Arrows are relatively very heavy compared to bullets, and they have a lot of momentum and transfer of energy, and arrows can penetrate armor better than bullets.
The perfect
If it's not like rifle rated.
The perfect example here is if you are a car guy, this is torque versus horsepower. And thank you for listening to our podcast.
Wait, we forgot something.
Yes.
You guys need to laugh.
Why?
It's not cool. Seriously, guys, it's not cool. I really have to piss. I'm out.
No, come back.
He took it seriously. Hey,
We don't
cheers.
like him anyway.
You just got promoted.
But seriously, thank you for listening to this podcast. Thank you guys for being... Ian, thank you for being here. I love you.
Thank you, Samo, for letting me on the podcast, not Giga.
I think this is gonna be a yearly thing, so we will do it next year. Giga, what do you say? Oh, you have your own mic. You don't need. I was sharing.
I don't think we have to talk anymore. I think we already stopped it. So.